Good afternoon. It is Tuesday and normally I have filmed plenty of meals and in-betweens by now when I want to post on a Wednesday afternoon. This week has been, or the last week period, has been long, tiring and very little cooking. And more than that, exciting cooking that you would want to follow along with has happened. There's been lots of microwave meals, quick leftovers, which is fine, very normal. We've all been there. But that is why you're gonna get a nice and short video today. I'm getting a little more creative this afternoon for dinner tonight. I'm just about to make a salmon and prawn noodle dish. I'm gonna do like a bolognese based sauce with some sun-dried tomato pesto in there too, and a rice noodle. We've had a lot of gluten lately and Matt doesn't do super well with lots of gluten, so I am trying to make a gluten-free meal tonight, even though I did really feel like souvlaki wraps, but nonetheless, that is what we are having tonight. I'm gonna have a chat through what I'm doing and also a little chat on what I'm planning for next week's video in regards to a little bit of female and health chat too. But I'm gonna get started on this meal first. I'm gonna grab some salmon, some prawns. I defrosted the salmon, it's just a frozen salmon, but it isn't even that defrosted yet, that's fine. We've got some prawns here too that are frozen raw prawns that I will pop on the pan once, ouch, that gets cooking. I'll pop the salmon on first. I cannot tell you how many times I have looked on Uber Eats in the last, I want to say half hour or so while I have been scrolling on my phone. I have never been more tempted not to cook and get takeaway, but also trying to save money, like I'm sure we all are, and we have a full fridge of food. So I'm gonna get the salmon on first. I'm doing this will probably have like probably 4 serves depending. What was that? 3 to 4 serves depending on how much we end up eating tonight. I'll typically put in about 3 pieces of salmon. Then I will pop in, once that's starting to get a little bit cooked on both sides, I'll break it up into like smaller pieces, pop the prawns in there too. They'll cook and start to defrost as well. And veggie wise, I'll have a look at what's in the fridge, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to do like a zucchini, eggplant, what do we got? Pak choy, eggplant, some capsicum, maybe a bit of rocket. That sounds good. Yeah. And then a bit of the, oh, we don't have much left. I'll finish off the sun-dried tomato pesto as well. Although it sounds quite fancy, this is a pretty easy meal. It shouldn't take too long. I'll just chop up all my veg as I start to cook the salmon and prawns. Pretty much all the veg will go in the pan as well. If you like your veg a bit softer, you can always microwave it first, but honestly, it's probably nicer in the pan for this one, especially because it's all kind of softer veg. I'll cut up the zucchini and eggplant. I'll probably pop the eggplant in first because that'll need the most cooking time to soften and properly cook through. Then I will pop in the zucchini, capsicum, pak choy all around the same time once all of the fish and prawns are cooked. We could probably use a bit more eggplant than that. Once I finish cutting this up, I will give you a run through of what I'm thinking for next week's video. But I would really like to have a chat over my personal experience, what are we, 2026? So probably back in 2022 or so, coming off the contraceptive pill and how my body responded to that, what I have done to get back to low inflammation, good health, and good, I guess, cycle and fertility markers. because it's the sort of topic that I feel like isn't spoken about enough. It was very stressful, and I guess I just want to film a video chatting through what I would have liked to have known, tried, heard experience from others about in regards to what to expect after being on the pill for a long period of time. I was on it for like 10 years, and I know I've spoken now after all of my experiences to a lot of people in a similar boat who are maybe still on the pill, maybe nervous about coming off it, maybe in the early stages of coming off it, and how their body's going to respond. And I'd really love to do a sit down chat just talking over my experience of like getting my period back, getting my cycle back to like normal, my experience with a post-pill polycystic ovaries, my skin, the inflammation I dealt with, how I've combated that, my weight gain and loss post that journey. There's just so much to unpack. So if this is something you'd like to hear about, maybe it's something you're yet to experience, have an opinion on, please let me know, and I'm going to do a more detailed sit down video when I get the chance. I was planning on doing it this week, but my week's just been so busy, my head's been scattered to actually sit down and articulate some good information needs to be done at a time when I am nice and alert, ideally a morning after a coffee. But yeah, if this is something that interests you, please let me know, because I would love to do a longer form video on that, and I will do a longer form video on that hopefully next week. Back to our meal, I just want to make sure I'm not going to burn this fish and also not spurt myself with oil in the process, because we all know it'll happen. Ouch. Oh yeah. That is literally the worst part of cooking with oil. Ouch. Ow, ow, ow. Come on. Ouch. All right, so that salmon's starting to get a little bit cooked on one side. It's definitely defrosted now. I'm going to push that to one side. Let's get these prawns straight on. And then as soon as they start showing a bit of color versus their frozen purpley white shade, I will add the sauce. I hopefully have a bolognese sauce. I'm just going to use bolognese sauce from a jar. I like the macro brand one from Woolies. Then I just have the Sundried tomato pesto. I really don't have much left. Normally I'd like to use maybe 3 to 5 tablespoons, but that's probably lucky to be 2. But it will have to do today. I'm going to continue to cut up the veg as well, but that starting veg of the zucchini and eggplant is pretty much ready to go. Although this seems like a lot of bits and pieces, it really should not take long. But I will quickly time lapse the rest of putting this together, and then I'll chat you through it at the end. The salmon and the prawns are starting to show a little bit more color. The prawns are starting to get a bit more cooked, and the salmon is almost cooked through as well. I'm going to add the sauce now. I'm going to add whatever's left in this jar. Will it fall out? No, it will not. Ooh, that's loud. Yeah, that would have been lucky to be a tablespoon. Normally I'd prefer it to be more flavoursome with the sun-dried tomato pesto, because that is really delish and has like a bit of, I don't even know what you call it, like tanginess to it, I guess. But that is okay. It will still be quite nice with just that. I also like to put actual sun-dried tomatoes in there as well if I have them, which I don't have today, but I think the capsicum will give it a nice touch. I normally put about half a jar of sauce in, because I like to use the other half for when I do our chicken schnitzel eggplant parmies that I've shown you before on a video. This is 500 grams, so about 250 grams, I would say. This chopping board is a really good indication of how my brain works, especially when I'm tired at the moment with multiple things on here at once. I did want to put the eggplant on first, but clearly I've put it all in mush against here. I'm going to put the eggplant and zucchini in here first. Once that starts to soften just a touch, I'll add the capsicum next, yeah, and then I'll add the Pak Choy last, just given that that doesn't really need as much time to soften, and I prefer the stem of it to be a little bit crispy and crunchy anyway. But we're going to mix all of this through, and once I've mixed it through, I'm going to boil the jug as well, because we're going to have these vermicelli rice noodles. I normally use 3. They come in like little circle shapes. I'll show you in a sec. Kind of 5 of them stacked on top of each other in a packet. I typically use 3 of them in a meal like this because I'm aiming to make at least 3 serves, which is why I did the 3 pieces of salmon as well. So I'll use 3 lots of the noodles. But in saying that, if we do get a 4th serve out of it, all the better. All right, let's let that sit for a little bit. I will boil the jug, pop those noodles into a container that is safe to have hot water in them, cover them to the top, and then I normally just leave them for a couple of minutes. They'll really obviously soften, and I won't add those till the very end until all of our veggies are cooked in here too, and then I'll just leave it for a couple of minutes to absorb the sauce as well. So the noodles come in these small little circle shapes. I'm pouring 3 of them in here. The packet does come with 5. Then I'm going to quite literally just cover them with hot water. And then I will put a lid over the top of this just to, do we have a lid? Yes. Just to keep the heat in, cook them a little bit quicker. The veggies are looking good. I'm also going to add the rest of them in now. I'll put that last little bit of rocket in though. Very last. Please don't spill. All right, capsicum next. Oop. There goes all my veggies. Actually, I'll probably just do them all at once because it's going to sit here for a little while. Ooh. As you can tell, I'm very fast and loose when it comes to cooking. There really is no strategy. I just go with my gut, which luckily works about 90% of the time. And that 10% of the time you don't want to try my food. I'm going to mix in all of the veggies here. Yum, this smells really good. Almost done. Something I forgot to mention before as well, I love putting feta in this dish. I normally put it in right at the end when it's already quite warm and cooked and just mix it through. You could use any type of feta and any kind of cut of feta, but I like to put in these like crumbled ones and just scatter them on top. Either you could do that when you serve it on top, like you would say like a Parmesan cheese, or mix it through the whole batch. But that is very, very delicious. It kind of contrasts or adds to the flavor of the tomato as well. And it is delish. All right, I'm gonna let this sit for like 5 minutes or so till the veggies all start to soften a bit more. Once this is soft, which should happen around the same time, I'll pop them in, put the rocket in, mix it all through, and then finish off with the feta on top, and it will be ready to go. Noodles are done, and this smells delish. I typically cut the noodles up a little bit because I just find it gets really messy and kind of clumps together. When I serve it, I really like all the ingredients to kind of be mixed throughout, so you're getting plenty of, oops, sugar. The salmon, obviously like the prawns, the veg, everything's kind of separated, and you get a nice spoonful of each. Versus when it's all together, I find it gets a bit too gluggy. You get either a lot of noodles or a lot of everything else. I'm gonna pop the rocket in after this. I know there's better ways to do this. I could definitely drain this, but you know what? Extra washing up. But in saying that, I did just do the rest of the washing up, as you can see behind me. So if Matt ever says I don't do washing up, I do, sometimes. All right. And that is pretty much all the noodles. It's as good as it's gonna get. Mix that through. As you can see, I like filling the pan up to the brim. I've also made a fair bit of mess here, but let's pretend I haven't. But honestly, if I'm cooking up a batch or something like this, I don't just want it for one night's dinner. I definitely want like at least a lunch the next day or 2 nights dinner kind of vibe. For the sake of me, you know, cutting up a couple extra ingredients, it definitely doesn't double the amount of time to the serves, which makes it totally worthwhile. I'm gonna pop in the rest of the rocket. Let that get a little bit soft and I'll mix it through in just a moment. I might put the feta on the plates. I just feel like since this is so full, it'll get a bit messy. So when I serve up the plates for Matt and I'll pop a bit of feta on top, mix it through there and show you the finished product. But honestly, it's probably, I don't even know how long it's been, maybe 20 minutes or so. That's a really delicious, nutritious, lots of protein with the prawns and salmon, lots of good veg in there too, and delicious. So I'll show you the final product in just a moment. It is ready to serve. There should definitely be 4 serves in here with this full to the brim pan. Yum, that smells so good. All right, I'm gonna leave the rest of that so Matt can have as much as he would like, and then I'll leave that container for the rest. I'm going to cover it in some feta. Obviously you can have as much or as little as you'd like here. I'm probably having like around 20 to 25 grams would be my guess. And then I'll mix that through at the table. Final finished product. Looks pretty good to me. Yum. I am starving and going to demolish this now, but thank you for joining me for another video. I really do quite enjoy chatting over my cooking, and I hope you guys are enjoying it too. I know this video was a little bit short and just one recipe instead of following me along my week, but I hope you enjoyed it. I will definitely do that chatty video next week going over my post-pill experience, so please let me know if there's any questions or anything specific you want me to talk on, or just if it's something you're interested in, because I'll make sure to give some good detail on it when I do. Your reminder for your nice big glass of water with every main meal. I'm going to give you that reminder every single video, probably multiple times a video. I'm going to enjoy this. I'll leave all the ingredients in the description. I will see you next time.